Well, today is National Voter Registration Day. It was created back in 2012, and since then, thousands of partners have worked to get over 5 million Americans registered to vote in time for their next trip to the ballot box. Joining us now is Richard Bell, voting rights advocate and trial attorney. Mr. Bell, good to have you with us. How are you?
Very well. Thank you for having me on this important day.
Hey, a couple things to talk about. What voting law changes should tri-state area voters be aware of?
Yes, basically New York and Connecticut. In New York, if you will be 18 years old by Election Day, November 5th, then at 17 years old right now, you can pre-register, and the law will allow you to both vote in person and vote by mail. Voting by mail is new for pre-registered voters. Second thing is, if you do vote by mail for anybody, if your ballot is rejected for any technical reason, you will be informed by the Board of Elections, and you will now have an opportunity to fix it by email. You can always mail it in, but now you can do it by email, and you'll have 7 days from either the rejection or from Election Day, whichever is longer. And very important, the entire state, every voter can now vote by mail without an excuse. The Court of Appeals just last month said that's correct. Connecticut, one big change. It's your first presidential election where you can do early in-person voting, and that's from October 21st to November 3rd.
Now, about 41 million members of Gen Z will be eligible to vote this year. So what are some common roadblocks that can stand in the way of having their votes count?
Okay, that goes to my first 3 rules of registering and voting. Early, early, early. There are registration deadlines. New York is October 26th. New Jersey is October 18th. Connecticut is October 15th. Connecticut's October 18th, but does allow in-person registration through Election Day. But you need to go to vote.gov, because all the rules of registration and voting are going to be contained. Just put in your state and make sure you register early, you check your registration early, you vote early, because you don't want a voter protection attorney like me having day. It's not. And
people really cast your vote. You can't just show up to various counties or various places and try to issue your vote on Election Day.
Exactly, Chris. Very important. And that's why you have to get educated on vote.gov.
Some voter suppression tactics interfering with voting and the registration process. What steps can be taken to overcome any of those barriers that could potentially exist?
Okay, so arguably, sometimes those are arguably intentional barriers. I would say in the tri-state area, they are not intentional, but the big but is there are administrative and technical errors that could be made when you change address or you registered somewhere else within the state. So what you need to do, if there is a problem in your registration, you need to call the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. It's a nonpartisan organization, been around for a long time. 866-OUR-VOTE, 866-OUR-VOTE. You'll get a live person on the phone. They will help you resolve those problems because they need to be resolved in time.
And just quickly, before anybody has any problems, whether it's registering or whether it's on the day, on Election Day, what's the best way for people to get help?
Really, the best way is that hotline, because they will lead you to, if it has to be to an election official or to an election office, 866-OUR-VOTE is really the best way, because you get a live person to walk you through what you need to do next.
And just quickly, because again, I know this is an issue out there, you need to be a United States citizen to vote in these elections. If you try to vote and you are not a U.S. citizen, the penalties are harsh, correct?
Yes, but it's really a non-issue. Georgia actually did an audit in 2022. Of all states, Georgia, they found there were 0 non-citizens on their registration rolls. But yes, of course you have to be a citizen. That's been forever. Obviously. 18 years old and a citizen and a resident of your state.
Punishable by jail and/or deportation if you do try to pull any of those tactics. All right, Richard Bell.
Of course.
Thank you very much. Good to talk with you, our voting rights advocate and trial attorney. Good to speak with you, and we'll speak with you shortly. And we've got a list of voting resources on our website. You can check our registration your registration status, important deadlines, and of course, the polling locations that match where you are registered. All of that at CBSNewYork.com.